So Justin Trudeau's emergency mandates might have ended, but with the government's statements about making some of them permanent, it's worth considering some of the government's other powers and overreaches that can be used to put down dissenters like the Freedom Convoy in the future. In Canada, having car insurance is mandatory, and at least in Ontario and British Columbia, I don't know about the rest of the country, but they have stickers that you put on your license plate and they're color coded to show the police if your insurance is up to date so they don't have to get close enough to read the numbers. And they have numbers on them so they can verify that and everything too. Well, the Ontario government is getting rid of the license plate stickers. And it turns out that British Columbia is too, right? Just one of those coincidences that happens where all the governments decide to pass the same laws, move in unison, put in the same policies all at once. But they're not scrapping the requirement to have insurance. So my immediate thought was, well, how are the police going to know if you have insurance or not if you don't have these stickers? So, according to Global News on the story about BC, the province will not move toward getting the decals removed, getting rid of the decals, until it consults with law enforcement, brokers, and other stakeholders. The government, or the province, hopes to go to law enforcement and other key stakeholders to make sure, if we proceed with regulations to extend the decal or eliminate it entirely, that police, for example, would still be able to do their jobs. So, how are they going to do that? How are the police going to make sure you have valid insurance? Coinciding with the launch of online insurance renewals, May 1st will also mark the last day BC drivers will be required to display a license plate validation decal to show they have valid insurance. ICBC is making a one-time investment of up to $1 million to expand the automated license plate recognition program, which helps law enforcement in BC detect unlawful, unlicensed, and uninsured drivers, the province says. Decal elimination will align BC with other Canadian jurisdictions that have successfully removed the decal from circulation, including Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Quebec, and the Northwest Territories. So, welcome to the automated license plate recognition system. From the RCMP's website, the Automatic License Plate Recognition System is a license plate recognition program that allows vehicles observed by cameras to have their license plate read and recorded. The ALPR system was initiated by the RCMP in concert with the Government of British Columbia Ministry of Solicitor General Police Services Division. Quite a mouthful. This project represents a multi-agency endeavor and includes major crime, integrated municipal provincial auto crime team, and BC Highway Patrol. The ALPR goal is to reduce auto theft and motor vehicle violation, in particular those related to prohibited, suspended, unlicensed, and uninsured drivers. The program also assists in the recovery of stolen vehicles, property, and related vehicle criminality. So, what it is a mass surveillance program. They'll be recording every license plate going down the road in view of one of their ALPR cameras and checking it against a database. Now, this system is different depending on who's using it, which province, which police force, and how it's configured. So, the Waterloo Regional Police Services uses automated license plate recognition cameras to automatically scan and detect license plates in the surrounding area of a police cruiser. This makes it more difficult for suspended drivers, drivers of stolen cars, and other vehicles with plates in poor standing to drive undetected. Under optimal conditions, the ALPR system is capable of scanning thousands of license plates per hour. The license plate scanner continuously scans license plates as an officer drives around the city. The officer is notified when there is a hit and will take appropriate enforcement action. Officers who are assigned to ALPR enforcement have access to an Ontario Ministry of Transportation and Canada Police Information Centre hot list, which is a database that contains millions of license plates in poor standing. Now, think about that one for a second. Canada is a country of around 38 million people. Now, how many of those people have a license? or a specific license plate, maybe half of that, because you got to think of kids, etc. So if you've got 18 or 19 million license plates possibly in the country that are active, and you've got a database which is millions of licenses in poor standing, you're looking at upwards of 10% of licenses being registered to the system. License plates that are in poor standing can fall into one or more of these categories. We'll skip, stolen cars and stuff like that. Plates with expired validation tags. So what I take that to mean is your insurance expires and you're automatically logged into one of these police database license plate scanners. So we've moved from a system where you kind of have to catch the police's eye. They have to have a reason to go around checking every single plate or checking your specific plate. Likely you're driving erratically. Maybe you got a speeding ticket. There's usually some other reason they're looking at your plate when they notice that you have an expired license, to now a preemptive automatic uploading into a mass surveillance system that, hey, you haven't paid your insurance on time, which is a situation, frankly, just about everybody I know is being in. Oh crap, I forgot to renew my insurance. Well, now you're on the police hot list. This automated mass surveillance system means that you're being searched without a probable cause and being searched without a specific intent, which I believe are both violations of your freedom from unnecessary or illegal search and seizure. This also fits in very well with statements by Justin Trudeau that they would suspend the insurance of trucks in the Freedom Convoy that continued to protest.
If you joined the protests because you're tired of COVID, you now need to understand that you are breaking laws. The consequences are becoming more and more severe. You don't want to end up losing your license, end up with a criminal record, which will impact your job, your livelihood, even your ability to travel internationally, including to the US. We've heard your frustration with COVID, with the measures that are there to keep people safe. We've heard you. It's time to go home now.
So, in a report from the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Ontario, guidance on the use of automated license plate recognition systems by police services, ALPR systems can also be set up to capture other information, including the location of vehicles at specific times and dates. As a result, these systems have the potential to be used to track individuals' locations over time, making it easier for police to conduct surveillance and profiling. The use of ALPR systems raises significant privacy concerns. Among those concerns are potential failures to comply with Ontario's public sector privacy legislation and intrusions on fundamental rights and liberties. Proper policies, procedures, and technical controls are critical to protecting privacy, particularly when considering that most drivers are law-abiding individuals simply going about their everyday activities. Now consider that in the perspective of the recent Emergency Act against truckers, people driving from all over the country in protest of the government, and you have the ability to track them over time, to identify them through a computer database, and even for individual officers to manually enter licenses into the database. In addition to receiving hot lists from institutions such as MTO, officers may be able to manually add license plates to the hot list. In addition, you can also manually scan for license plates that aren't in front of the camera. So you don't see the car, but you know the plate, you can just punch that in, and hey, maybe you can find out where that car has been. The Privacy Commissioner says police should prohibit officers from using the manual search for reasons unrelated to an active and open criminal investigation. So, hey, no stalking your ex. Police should not use ALPR information for secondary purposes, such as tracking the location and movements of law-abiding individuals. The margin these days for breaking the law and not being a law-abiding individual is a lot more slim than it used to be. So I made this video to bring your attention to the growing digital surveillance state that we're becoming. I don't know how widespread these systems are, but systems like these are something we should all be keeping an eye on, keeping aware of, especially considering things like emergency acts or just police corruption. As a story from Canada goes, RCMP inappropriately shares personal information on thousands of individuals with other federal agencies. The police, the Canadian police, were sending data that they weren't supposed to send on thousands of people to the Department of Defense and the Canadian Armed Forces. Approved in 2019, the Security of Canada Information Disclosure Act allows 17 federal institutions to share information with each other to protect security. This includes sharing personal information. According to the review, the RCMP received information on thousands of men, women, and children who an unknown third party detained for their alleged involvement in terrorist organizations. The information was sent by a trusted foreign partner, along with detailed notes indicating how the information was obtained. The RCMP shared the initial dataset with the Department of National Defense Canadian Armed Forces because of its counterterrorism mandate and their operations in the regions where the named individuals were detained, but the RCMP failed to share the additional detailed information on how the information was collected, and it didn't have any record of receiving this information. And by now we should know that the foreign terrorists of today are the domestic terrorists of the future, just like the Patriot Act of the past is now used to persecute patriots in the present. So that's all for now. Sleep tight. Don't let the Fed's bugs bite.